Hello. Welcome to Parkland Media. I am your host, Spade Parkland. Thank you for clicking on the video. According to my analytics, a lot of people who watch my content have not subscribed to the channel. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any notifications. Hit the notification bell and make sure it's set to all. Thanks for watching, and now enjoy the video.
It's showtime.
Hello. Welcome to Parkland Media. My name is Spade Parkland. Thank you for clicking on the video. Thanks for watching. Bottom line up front, the numbers on the papers were not music notes theory. It's really a claim. So I've made this claim since season 3 of From on MGM Plus and Amazon Prime had concluded, and that was November 2024. From that point, I said, you know what? They're not music notes. A bunch of different reasons they're not music notes. We're going to rewatch episode 10 of season 3 again, not the entire thing, just key points. And then I'm going to point out why not only are the numbers on the papers not music notes, but the paper itself and the bottles should have been examined, not just the numbers. And with the people being in Fromville, we have to kind of give them grace because, of course, they don't have access to the internet. They don't have access to books. They don't have access to people outside the township who can see everything. They're not exchanging information, so they're going off of limited amount of information, limited options. So there's that. But us being the viewers, and in a way, we're kind of like the crows at the fallen tree, if you will, how we see everything. And once someone goes on the tree, we're all yelling, get down, like the crows. But that's my claim. The numbers on the papers were not music notes, and I'm going to explain why. Let's get started. We're going to just focus on the key points. That is scenes with Jade, Tabitha, and Jim. All right, let's do it.
Listen, if those kids made the tree, then those...
All right, so right there, that was Jade. He started off saying, if those kids made the tree, talking about the ghoulish children. So I'm sure they've thought of other things as far as the trees being made in Fromville. But right now, the logic they're going off of is the kids made the tree. In other theory videos that I've made, I've said that I think that Miranda made it from seeing visions. So I think that as of right now, they're off to a bad start, but they don't really know it because, again, they are scared. They're trapped in the township. They have limited information. They don't see everything that we see, and we're going to help them out.
Messages in the bottles, the numbers?
Messages in the bottles. So Jade is thinking that they're messages trying to communicate something. He and other people haven't thought about the type of paper the numbers are written on, the type of bottles. They haven't thought about that.
They have to matter.
How do we know the numbers mean anything?
The numbers might not mean anything. Somebody took paper, and when I say paper, look at the paper behind Tabitha's head right now. You notice anything? They're yellow. So the pieces of paper in the bottles are yellow. The pages behind Tabitha in the back of the peach truck are yellow. Now you do have a white page right here and a white page right here, but they should have, one of the courses of action they should have done is taking the paper from in the bottles and tried to match it with other paper in the township to see what matches. Because Victor's book, Christopher's book, I'm talking about Victor's map book, and the pages in the back of the peach truck somewhat resembled the pieces of paper that were in the bottles that Jade is going to put on the board in the next scene that we're going to watch.
We don't even know who put them there.
We don't know who put them there, but just knowing that the bottles on the bottle tree, they're all similar. And so in previous videos, I've said that the bottles had to be made in 1900s. There were bottles made before 1900s. they were more like in different shapes, such as like square, triangle, and flasks. The bottles were mainly like in types of shapes. The bottles on the bottle tree they're from the 1900s, and they're called cod neck bottles. They were invented 1872 for carbonated drinks, and those bottles were created 1900s. Let me show you. Jade and company don't have access to the internet. We do. So I am kind of cheating in a way. But when using Google and AI, what bottles were in the 1800s, here's what comes up as far as images. And again, bottles in the 1800s evolved from hand-blown imperfect glass to machine model types featuring distinctive shapes like patriotic or figural GII. Key styles include Dutch onion bells for spirits, paneled ink bottles, and early soda bottles, with production shifting from an artisanal hand-blowing early 1800s to machine molds late 1800s. And it kind of further going down, the types of bottles and the uses were like flasks, early versions of soda bottles that had a Saratoga style, and there's other things, but just kind of going to the images of different bottles, there really aren't any bottles that look very similar to the bottles that are on the bottle tree. There are some that kind of resemble it, but not exactly, because when taking the image of the bottles from the bottle tree on the show and putting them into Google, that's where I got the cod neck bottles as being those bottles. So once cod neck bottles came up, as far as information, I went to images, and they do look similar to the bottles that are on the bottle tree. They're not exact, because with the art department of From, they tend to make stuff from scratch, but the design is cod neck bottles. Cod neck bottles were, again, invented 1872 for carbonated drinks like soda, and they became popularized around the 1900s. So if they just so we knowing that information and just kind of accepting AI as being our friend, Google being our friend, if you will, we know that the bottles on the bottle tree had to have been made 1900s. So with taking that information, that means that the bottles could not be made before 1900 because they became popularized after the 1900s as far as being mass produced, because all the bottles in Fromville and in Maine, they're all the same. So that means, in my opinion, that whoever made the bottles in Maine more than likely is responsible for the bottles in Fromville, unless Miranda had a vision of the bottles in Fromville and found bottles just like it. It is possible. But in this theory, I'm going to say that she had a vision of the future of the bottle tree already put together. She found those bottles and replicated it, trying to understand the vision, had bottles in her vehicle when she was driving towards the park with Victor and Eloise in the vehicle. While driving to the park, they ended up at the fallen tree and then ended up in Fromville. And she took the bottles that were in the vehicle that she came in, created the bottles on the faraway tree and the other bottles in the tree that Sarah had the seizure at, and maybe even other trees throughout the township that haven't been discovered yet. And so I believe that Miranda ended up making the bottle tree that she saw in a vision that came from the future. In other words, she saw what she was going to do, and thinking that she's supposed to do it, she went ahead and did it, creating the future thing that she saw in the vision in Maine. If it sounds trippy and it sounds weird, just roll with it. So we've established what I believe is a baseline, that the cod neck bottles were invented and mass-produced 1900s. So the bottle trees could not have been created before the 1900s.
I mean, think of all the people who have been here. We could be chasing someone's random delusion.
No, Miranda knew those bottles were important.
Well, we don't know if she knew the bottles were important. Let's just say that there's no way they could have known about the bottles not being created before the 1900s. One other mistake that they're making right now is they don't have Henry as a part of their mystery gang. while the mystery gang is trying to solve this problem and they're talking about Miranda, someone who actually knew Miranda, Henry, should be there with them, helping them brainstorm about Miranda. That's the first mistake. So 2 mistakes so far, in my opinion. The first mistake is not looking. I mean, Jay's looking at the map. He's examining it. Okay, that's good. But none of them are like looking at the paper in the peach truck where Victor basically was in hiding for decades. No one's looking at that paper and comparing it to the paper that's in the bottles, that was in the bottles on the bottle tree. We're not matching paper to paper and then asking Victor, hey, do you have any books that have torn pages? Do you remember your mom writing anything on sheets of paper? Do you remember anyone writing anything on sheets of paper? Because Victor, especially with Tabitha on the team, would probably open up the Tabitha and remember something that he forgot, like that he, similar to how he remembered he had a sister and remembering that it was the boy and wife sharing secrets with Christopher and not Jasper. Tabitha could pull that out of him, and he probably would say, oh yeah, the paper that's back here, my mom, Miranda, used to write on these. And then Henry could look at the numbers and say, oh yeah, Miranda was writing numbers like that back in Maine. Here's what the numbers meant to her when she started hearing voices and having visions. So they're making 2 mistakes so far. Let's keep going.
10 numbers, right? 2 are backwards?
Yes, the 2 and the 7s.
Great, so that means there's 12.
And believe me, I have tried every mathematical, astronomical, astrological, Babylonian 12-point new.
So basically, what Jim is saying is that with the 2 being backwards and the 7 being backwards, that's 2 extra numbers, 12 total. Because you got 0 as a number, then you got 1, 2, all the way to 9. That makes 10 if you include 0 as a number. And then so 0 through 9, then you add 2 more numbers of a backwards 2 and a backwards 7, which gives you your 12. I'll say it again in case you missed it. So 0 is a number. Then you have 1 through 9, which is 9 numbers, which makes 10 total. 0 through 9 makes 10. Backwards 2 is a new number. Backwards 7 is a new number. That's where they get the 12. We have AI. So when putting the symbol of the backwards 2 into AI, it brings up Latin. So not numbers, but it brings up Latin. We'll focus on that in a moment.
Numerical cipher I can imagine. The zodiac, months of the year, fucking eggs in a carton.
Here's the next mistake that Jade is making. Jade is trying to do everything on his own because he feels like he's the smartest person in the room, smartest person in town. If he can't figure it out, no one else can. Even though, guess who was the one that got the radio to work? Guess who was the one that had the brainstorm that the wires don't go anywhere as far as electricity that caused Tabitha to dig in the basement? And Jade's arrogance and calling Jim a teacup because he works on fair rides, he's looked down on Jim and his intelligence, even though Jim's an engineer. So because of that, Jade's hubris, ego, and arrogance, and even narcissism has made it to where he's trying to figure everything out on his own. So if he can't figure it out, it can't be figured out.
Bent over backwards, twisting in some version of the Fibonacci sequence. There's nothing there, believe me.
Aren't there 12 notes in a scale?
See, Jim is asking. Jim is just asking, are there 12 notes in a scale? And that's based off of the idea of 0 through 9 being 10 numbers and the backwards 2 and backwards 7 being numbers, 12 total. So Jim is just like, he's just brainstorming, isn't there 12 notes in the scale?
What'd you say?
Music. My mom was a piano teacher. She used to say that music is the universal language. I mean, there are 12 notes in a scale, right?
So Jim is asking because he's like, well, I don't really know for sure. He's asking.
A through G with the flats and the sharp.
Teacup, you are a fucking genius.
Jade has now just accepted that, you know what? This is it. Jim has solved the mystery. No, what's going on is Jade is tired. He's stressed. He's willing to accept any answer. So when Jim provides something that makes sense, Jade is like, let's run with it. Not really thinking that if these are music notes, why are they not on a traditional music sheet of paper? I get it. I have AI. I have the internet. They don't. So we're not going to fault them on this. But to my right, or behind my head rather, right up in there, that is musical notation. So I don't know anything about music. And we're using Wikipedia of all things. I don't know anything about music. Jim does. So Jim would know that this musical notation behind my head, this was used from like 1685 to 1750, or we'll say 1600s, 1700s. And then even the ancient musical notations were made just like this right here. So basically sheet music. Sheet music would be put together. It's going to be organized. The numbers on the pieces of paper, if it really is quote unquote music, you see how close together all this is? For you to tear apart a sheet of paper would mean you wouldn't be tearing like just this part right here. You basically would be tearing apart a piece that would more than likely include other pieces, because musical notation is usually close together. It's either on this like stanza, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong as far as the musical grammar, because I'm not a musical guy. That either would be on a stanza with the lines, or it would be organized really close together for you to read from left to right or right to left an entire song. So for them to have sheets of paper with just numbers on it and nothing near it, just ripped apart like that, it wouldn't make sense for it to be music, because how would you know how to put it together if you're not the one who wrote the song? And here's what I mean. Imagine taking pieces of a puzzle, scrambling them all up, putting them on the ground. You put them in front of someone else. You take the box that represents the picture that the pieces of the puzzle are going to come together and be. You take the box, you hide it, and you don't show it to the person. A person can't really put together pieces of a puzzle without knowing the picture. It's possible, but just not probable. Even if you were to put together Legos, someone were to take a bunch of Legos, put them in front of you, hide the box, you kind of got to know what you're putting together, either with a blueprint, instructions, or with the box that has the picture of what it's going to be as far as final product. So because there's no way to know what the final product is, and even Tabitha's going to say it in the next scene, without knowing what the final product is, it's no way that you can put together some music. It's just no way that you're going to put it together. And I'm going to show you that the numbers and the items on the sheet of paper did not have a factor in Jade coming up with the melody. At this point, Jade, stressed out, tired, confused, he's accepted musical notes. Because he's looking for something that will equate music or musical notes or musical notation, he now has what I believe is confirmation bias, meaning that he's now looking for a way to justify the answer that he believes is true that came from Jim.
How do we know in what order they go in?
Exactly. How do you know? Like I just said, that unless there's someone to explain it to you or a blueprint or whatever, it's unknown how you're going to put them together. I mean, look at all this paper. There's just no way you can organize all this to make the right song. Because even if you could put them in order and make a song, it wouldn't be the right song. What I would be focusing on is comparing the type of paper to any other paper in the township, which Christopher's book is right there. You see, I mean, it's kind of bright, so you can't really see it. But notice how these pieces of paper are similar to the pages in Christopher's book. To me, that would have been a light bulb. Like, wait a minute. Instead of focusing on what's on the paper, let's focus on the paper. Who was around when Christopher's book was a thing? Victor. Victor also has a map book that resembles the same paper. Victor's map book basically was just showing him a map, but had a pace count to get to the briefcase he dug up and showed Sarah. So we have two types of paper. We got paper right here to the right behind my head that resembles the paper that Boyd had found in the bottle when he and Sarah were in the forest. That's season 1, episode like 9 and 10. Then you got other pieces of paper that were in the bottles that resembles the pages in the book. Now, one thing I'm gonna bring to your attention, season 1, there was a bad storm that messed up the radios, messed up a lot of the lights and electricity in Colony House, and glass even went in Clara's eye. She wore an eye patch. So for these pieces of paper to be flat and not affected by weatherization, i.e. rain, inside of bottles that have no top, these pages should be wet. The pages are not wet. They're not wrinkled. And I'll show you in a moment when Jade puts like 3 of them on the board and then gets the whole lullaby thing. The pages seem to be flat and they're not wet, not soggy, ink's not running, matching the book, matching Victor's book. They should have been comparing the type of paper to the drawings in the peace truck and any other paper in the town. Even the paper in the sheriff's station is similar to the pages that were in the bottles.
Well, we treat it like any composition. We try to figure out what is a chord and what is a melody. 2975.
It kind of looks like it's dingy a little bit. It should be more like the ink should be running, or should be more smeared, because it should have been hit by water. Because again, you're talking about pieces of paper inside of a bottle. You see how it's not really creased that much? Not much of a crease. So someone just kind of like folded it a little bit and put it in the bottle, but there's no crease, no water damage. The ink doesn't look smeared. Now, when putting this backwards 2 into Google, this is what I found. The common thing that came up was this symbol behind my head of this backwards S, and it's letter tone 2. So it's Latin, a letter which appears in numerous alphabets, including some proposed extensions of the Latin alphabet. Depending on the context in which the letter is used, it is typically based either on the numeral 2 or the Latin letter S. And so the reason why this is important is because there's some numbers on the pieces of paper that have this backwards S, some don't. It's not really a backwards 2. It could also be a part of the Zhuang alphabet. It could be anything, but not necessarily music notes. This was the standard Zhang, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. The backwards S was used in the Zhang alphabet from 1957 to 1986. I believe that Miranda, Victor, and Eloise came into Frumville 1978, which matches the number that's on the map in the back of the peach truck that Jade was looking at. And also one of the numbers, I believe their death years, in the lighthouse, which was season 1, episode 9, when Tabitha was going up the steps. It's possible that Miranda could have wrote that. She was an artist. She was familiar with different things. She might have been familiar with using this backwards S, or Miranda could have been channeling a previous reincarnation which wrote the backwards S and the numbers. I got it. They don't have the internet. They don't have books, but just kind of bringing in Henry and Victor, having them look at stuff, I think it would have came up maybe a rhyme or a reason, or if not a rhyme or reason to the backwards S, at least the quality of the paper. Victor could have said, this is the kind of paper that I used to draw on with Mom. And then they would have been like, okay, maybe Miranda made all this stuff. Instead of us just going towards musical notes, let's dig a little bit deeper in the back of the peach truck, maybe even trying to have a conversation with Victor, going through his room, maybe going through the vehicles. There may have been something, or maybe even something in town, or something in the forest. There may have been something to give them more of a more information than just going with the music notes. But again, they don't have the internet, so I understand. So this is more of the modern Latin alphabet on Wikipedia for Zhuang. So in 1957, The People's Republic of China introduced an alphabetical script for the early standardization for Zhuang language. The alphabet was based on Latin script, expanded with modified Cyrillic and IPA letters. All right, so I don't know what any of this means. But one thing that's interesting is that you have someone in the township who may have some type of background with reading things that are Chinese in nature, talking about Kenny. He probably would have been a value add to bring in to possibly tell them information about the backwards S and Latin alphabet and everything, and would have maybe help them better understand what they're looking at. That's like 4 mistakes, in my opinion, that they made, and that is not sharing information with other people, not bringing other people in. I mean, even one of the background characters that don't have any lines, if we're in the township, they may have been like, oh yeah, you know what? I was a history major before I got trapped in Frumville. Here's what it means. You know, it could have been one of those things. You have a whole town full of people. Everyone wants to go home. People are sitting around, twiddling their thumbs, scared. Having different people come in and showing them the information may have helped them to better understand what they're dealing with. But they didn't, so let's keep going. So it still could be a year. It's just that the year could be a Latin year or something like that, or just a different language. Like all these different numbers could have meant something to a previous reincarnation of maybe Jade or Tabitha.
2975. The 2 is backwards. So that would be a G instead of a B. Okay, followed by F sharp D E. Okay. So if it was a melody, it would be something like da 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 G F sharp E D G G.
You see how right now Jade, he's picked up a random piece of paper. He's picking up a random piece of paper and just kind of like spitballing.
E, another backwards 2 G G D C C da 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 da.
All right, so you see what happened here? The same way that Tabitha had like a light bulb go off when she had visions of Miranda or thoughts of Miranda. That's kind of how Jade's face was with this. The same way that Tabitha was getting little fragments of who she came from, previous reincarnations, talking about Miranda, especially with the whole bracelet thing. Jade is having that same thing, that same epiphany.
What's wrong?
He's putting it on the board. You got 6, 2, 9, 6. So these two shouldn't even be right next to each other. He's just putting them on the board while he's singing this melody. The melody is not coming from the sheets of paper or from the numbers. It's coming from him remembering who he comes from. Season 1, where Sarah was saying that the story of the girl with the broken glass. So as Tabitha and Jade, before they were awakened at the bottle tree by their daughter, who is an Nkui child, they had little fragments similar to broken glass of previous lives. And I think this is what's going on with Jade is he's remembering a fragment. He's putting this stuff on the board, but in his mind, him remembering who he came from and remembering him playing the melody in the past, that's really what's coming to the surface, and it has nothing to do with these sheets of paper. He's remembering from the past. It has nothing to do with these sheets of paper.
What is that? I don't know. I've never heard this before. I looked at the numbers. I looked at the notes and
he looked at the notes. Again, this is kind of like confirmation bias. He's looking for notes. He's calling them notes, but he's remembering because he used to play the melody to the children. So it's coming in because he's thinking about music notes that thought came from Jim.
You just, what? I could hear the music.
I can hear the music from his past.
Wait. Hey, stop. I'm not so sure this is a good idea.
You don't really have much to go off of unless you bring other people in.
What are you talking about? You cracked the code.
Yeah, and the music just magically popped into your head.
You see? Jim is basically saying what all of us should be thinking, and look, he looking like a crazy person. Like, Jade is like, you cracked the code, I'm putting a stamp of approval, foot on the gas. Where Jim is like, hold on, I don't think a code was cracked.
Doesn't that strike you as odd?
It does. It is very odd. And you see Jade's look of disappointment because Jade wants Jim to be right. He wants to be right because he wants to solve the mystery. Jade wants to win. He's no longer thinking logically and rationally.
Well, everything about this place is odd.
And this place is trying to manipulate us, to hurt us.
Oh, Jim, how is playing a song going to hurt us?
Are you forgetting what Boyd said about the haunted music box and how it nearly killed everyone? Or the jukeboxes in the diner that just magically turn on by themselves?
All right, okay, so what are you saying? We just ignore this? We forget about it?
No.
Right there. Now it's 2-on-1. Previous video, I said they should establish a council that should vote on stuff. Because you got 3 people in a room, Jade and Tabitha, foot on the gas, let's keep going. They're going straight ahead. And they might be driving off of a cliff.
Maybe you shouldn't play it here in town just to be safe, just to make sure. Well, the message was left on the tree. Maybe we should play it there.
Jade is playing from memory. He doesn't have any sheets of music. He doesn't have any notes in front of him. He's playing off of memory from in his mind. There's still bottles hanging up on the bottle tree, which means there's other bottles that could have pieces of paper inside of them that would have helped them to complete this thing. The numbers on the paper, based off what I presented and what I believe, have nothing to do with Jade playing the song or remembering the song. Jade is going off of memory. Oh! Quick break. Gotta pay some bills, if you will. Right now we have a super thanks from B Brock VA. Thank you for the super thanks. Says thanks. Great ideas about from and discussion about other topics. Keep those theories going or coming. That analysis from the book of John about Jesus's resurrection or lack thereof was enlightening and thought-provoking. Don't take my word for it. Like reading Rainbow, don't take my word for it. That was just me reading it, me giving my take on it. There's other books, 3 other books. There's Matthew, Luke, and Mark. They say something different. I say read everything for yourself, but thank you, B Brock VA, for the super thanks. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for being a channel member. More theories to come, like this video, especially in the channel membership. Yeah, and then when season 4 cranks up, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Don't forget to like, sub, and share. Thank you.
Yes, don't forget to do it. All right, so thank you for being a channel member and hitting me up with the super thanks. I appreciate it. And we got another one from first of her name, She Who Remains, the great one, the greatest of all time, the woman, the myth, the legend, Amanda Kenny. Thank you for the super thanks and being a channel member. She says, you and your videos are the best. That's on the Creatures Consume the Circulatory System Part 2. I appreciate it. Thank you, Amanda. And we have another super thanks from Adventurous Exile. Thank you for being a channel member and donating through super thanks. I appreciate it. Says, those were some awesome leadership ideas you had. Thanks. Ha ha ha. And I was asked about making a list of stuff if I was the leader. I said it in the previous video. Definitely check it out. But thank you, Adventurous Exile, for 2 super thanks. Glad you liked my leadership ideas. And if Jade finds out Sarah took out Toby, all heck is gonna break loose.
Breaking news.
There won't be any coming back. Because Sarah's gonna be like, the voices told me to do it. This is what I would like to happen. That Sarah tells Jade, after Jade finds out that Sarah took out Toby and made it look like the creatures did it, that Sarah says that it was originally supposed to be you and not Toby. I think that's the whole reason she was sent on that mission, was to take out Ethan, take out Toby. Sarah was probably supposed to be the silent, deadly assassin, Agent 47 of Fromville. All heck will break out or break loose. Sarah will go from being the hero who helped Boyd again, because she helped him in the forest when it was raining and he was poisoned by the spiders, carried the backpack, was motivating him to keep going, was basically like a coach coaching someone, keep going. And then she's the one that turned Elgin into One-Eyed Willie. We think she's redeemed herself, but other people probably consider her to be a monster. She'd be a double monster, if you will, if it comes out that she took out Toby. Nice yoga stretches. Thank you, Adventurous Exile, for being a channel member and for the super thanks. I appreciate it. And then we got Michael Sullivan. Thank you for being a channel member and for donating through super thanks. I appreciate it. Yes, got the Sims theme music. It says, hi Spade, my From Thirst has me out here watching 7-month-old videos. I appreciate it. And I think you're really onto something with this one. I'm in yoga class here. He's yoga stretching. But what if Boyd destroying the music box set the man in the yellow suit free, which will indeed prolong their suffering? The first thing we hear him say is that Jade sure can play. Jade had just played, but there may be more to that line. So my response was, or is, my guess is that previous version of Jade played instruments. The original Jade, who did the lullaby first, and maybe every other reincarnation found out who they came from, and they all played the melody. This being at the bottle tree, or this being in Fromville and playing the melody and summoning the ghoulish children, the ghastly children, the Nkui kids, they've done this before. But Jade is just the most musically inclined of all of them, and that's why, in my opinion, the man in the yellow suit remarked that Jade sure can play. The man in the yellow suit has heard all versions play something, and all versions have gotten to this point. If that is true, if this theory is true, then that means that we're kind of getting close to the end. Because unless they do something different to finally win, Jade and Tabitha may die again and be reincarnated. I think the end of season 5, the end of the series, is going to have Jade and Tabitha remembering the original promises they made to the ghoulish children, them constantly being reincarnated, wanting to finally go to the afterlife, wanting to help others be free of the trap that they were part of causing, and to help free people who are currently trapped, including Julie and Ethan. I think that Jade and Tabitha are going to sacrifice themselves. They're going to be happy. Henry reconnecting with Miranda, Victor reconnecting with Miranda through Tabitha. Maybe even Jim might end up being one of the ghosts, the ghost version. I'm hoping that Jim is one of those ghost versions. I also hope they bring back Tien Chen Lu as the ghost version that talks to Kenny. Like, I think that, okay, you take out a character, you kill a character, we're all sad, but have them come back as a ghost and give knowledge. And also may say, like, hey, now that I'm on the other side, I know why the wires don't go anywhere and you have electricity. I know where the water goes and comes from. I know about this place. I'm one with the crows. Here are the answers. So thank you, Mike O'Sullivan for being a channel member and donating through Super Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Watch ads without skipping, become a channel member, become a YouTube premium member, donate through Super Thanks, hit the Cash App if you don't want to do a Super Thanks. That's Cash App, $Spade Parkland. Thumb up the video, comment in the comment section, share everywhere, including your YouTube community tab. If watching on a cell phone and you see the hype button, click the hype and hype me up. If the writers hear me and they're like, you know what, let's do some reshoots to add stuff that the channel members, commenters, and what Spade Parkland has put out there, let's put it in the show, I'd be ecstatic. But thank you everybody who is a channel member. Thank you everyone for donating. I appreciate it. Bottles are still hanging up. They didn't even have all the bottles down to come to a conclusion that would have been having all the variables possible. But here come the Nkui kids. So for all we know, the lullaby might have been a part of what gave them hope. Sidebar. So I guess these are the original townspeople, or maybe this is one group or section of townspeople, or maybe they couldn't hire every person who played a creature to come back. But you don't see Jasmine, but you do see the teen right here. So maybe it was certain ones that were able to come back. I don't know, but you don't see the creature of color. You don't see Jasmine. There's a lot of them that you don't really see. Panda eyes. All right, let's keep going. So I think that the reason why the girl is kneeling is because when the ghoulish children or the teddy bears were alive, they probably were doing different rituals and ceremonies, having them kneel down. And having them kneel down, no different than like in a church service, how you have rituals, you have communion. There's a lot of demonstration, a lot of performance, a lot of things being recited. I think she's doing this because they used to do this when they did their rituals.
Nkui.
I think that Nkui worked because it's their daughter. And then we have a smile. I still think that the original Jade and original Tabitha were a part of doing the terrible things, and they were on board with keeping the Nkui kids imprisoned and to be sacrificed, because why is Tabitha going to get up and leave right now? I'd be asking questions like, what is it like on the other side? How have you been? It's been a while. I would have been embracing my teddy bear. But this is the reaction of both Jade and Tabitha. I know I did this in a previous video. We're going to do it again. Instead of hugging her teddy bear, embracing the teddy bear, saying, I love you, I'm sorry, Tabitha, in a way, is shunning this teddy bear the same way she shunned Julie after Tabitha hugged Victor and had that vision of Miranda running through the woods before getting caught by Smiley.
We tried to save them. Because one of them...
No.
Oh, God.
You see that look? That look was of shame. That look was of, I'm not ready for you. This is equivalent to when you got two people, they make a teddy bear, and they abandon the teddy bear at like a fire station, or abandon the teddy bear in foster care, or just, you know, they abandon the teddy bear. And then the teddy bear gets older and comes back and is like, why didn't you want to keep me? Why did you abandon me? And the parents are just like, or the mom or parent or dad, they're just looking like, I'm just not ready for this. I'm not ready. We did the do, we made you. I'm not prepared to tell you why we didn't raise you, why we didn't keep you, why we didn't take care of you. I'm not prepared.
No, I can't.
We used to sing them lullabies.
Season 4 needs to pick up right here. I know they're talking about doing a time jump. I need to know, what does Jade say to the teddy bear? Do the other teddy bears come forward and start talking English, or do they talk this in Kui language? I need to know. Like, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Okay, we're going to take a look at the paper that's behind Boyd and the sheriff station. You can't really see it that well, but there's several different types of paper behind Boyd. This one, maybe even this one, because I believe this one came from the actual bottle in the bottle tree, which we'll look at that again for season 1 in a moment. But some of this paper may have been the same. Well, not this white paper up here. Maybe this paper over here, but some of this paper, or maybe even paper in the drawers, paper lying around, could have been the same paper that came from the bottles, and they could have compared that as far as paper type. Because I would have been going through every building looking for books with paper similar to the paper in the bottle trees to look for other sources that all this stuff came from. Because you think about it, it's not really practical to take a sheet of paper, tear it, write a number on it, and then put it in the bottle. But just the fact that it's in the bottle, you had a bad rainstorm season 1, and then the paper in the bottle is not affected. There's no cap on the bottle, so everything in the bottle should have been wet, and it's not. So I would have been like, okay, maybe the paper is special. Maybe this paper is unique. Let's try to burn one of the pages and see, does it burn? Because for all we know, burning the paper may have created some type of reaction, similar to Boyd with the torch. He lit it at the ruins. He went back to the dungeon and was able to destroy the music box. Getting together and collaborating and exchanging information is and would have been a value add. They didn't do it. If watching on your phone and using the YouTube app, there's a new free feature called Hype. That's when you're using your cell phone, mobile phone, same thing. And it's to the right of the thanks, above the description and below the video. Clicking Hype, this is the hype right there. Clicking Hype, if you see it, when you see it, it tells YouTube to provide promotion for videos you enjoy. It's a new free feature for the phone app only, and you can hype 3 times a week max. And see the pictures below and hype me up. Okay, hype me up. Hype me up. Let's get the party started. And you can go to my my post area and you can kind of see all these, unless you've already seen them. And if you've already hyped me up, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we're going to look at the piece of paper that Boyd found in the bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's the bottle. They're cod neck bottles.
1864.
The numbers that were on the pieces of paper Jade put on the board, they were actual numerical value numbers. Whereas this is written out with 18 written out in like the word format, capital E. Then you have lowercase 60, lowercase 4. So people used to write like this when making like legal contracts. So I imagine that this more than likely was maybe a part of a legal contract. I mean, there's other reasons to write out the numbers instead of like having the numerical value of what the number is. That's why I think it is a year. I think that some of the numbers are years. Some of them may have been just written in different languages, but I'm still going off of, until season 4 and season 5 prove otherwise, that Jade remembering the lullaby came from his past memory, and he was playing from his past memory of previous reincarnations. That's why he didn't have any pieces of paper in front of him while playing at the bottle tree when the Kui kids came, and that this may be part of some type of contract. Maybe each year written is when a contract was made with the man in the yellow suit or with it for eternal life or some type of benefit of a Faustian bargain. But you have 3 different versions of numbers. You got the regular numbers, 4 digits. Then you got the 3 digits with the backwards 2. And now you got this spelled out with capital first letter of 18 being the capital letter, then 64 in lowercase letters, meaning all this is supposed to be 1. And it's all in cursive. So, yeah, I still think that they're years and that they lucked up with Jim saying, oh, lullaby, Jade just accepting that and then rolling with it, and then having the lullaby from his past be remembered, and then being able to play from scratch. And that maybe other versions of Jade and Tabitha discovered who they came from. They did the lullaby. Maybe they sung it instead of using an instrument. And now the man in the yellow suit, hearing Jade do the lullaby, Jade must be the most talented one. The man in the yellow suit remarking that Jade sure can play. So that's my claim. So what do you think? Watch ads without skipping, become a channel member, become a YouTube premium member, donate through Super Thanks. If you don't want to do Super Thanks, you can donate through Cash App, the Spade Parkland. If you don't want to donate, you can thumb up the video and help like that. Comment in the comment section, share to your YouTube community tab, share everywhere. And if watching on a cell phone and you see the hype button, click the hype button, hype me up if you see it when you see it. If you don't see it, it may not be available for your area or your country. So there it is. That's the video. Go forth, do great things, and I'm out. Peace.
Future's not ours to see. Kiss her eyes.